Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And today I want to talk about the next step in the Horizon Zero Dawn collaboration. Of course, the first quest dropped where we got the Stormslinger prototype, the new light bowgun, and now there's a second quest, the Survivor, where you fight a Stygian Zynoga this time, and this allows you to upgrade the Stormslinger into the Adept Stormslinger, and it also allows you to craft the Shield Weaver armor, as well as the Frostclaw armor for your Palico. So there's a fair amount of stuff to do. Of course, this is unfortunately only for PS4, but with Safi Jiva dropping at the same time, then there's plenty of stuff to do. However, I want to turn my attention to this because the bowgun is actually pretty interesting. The way that it works with the armor is also rather cool, so we're going to take a moment to talk about that. Now, as mentioned, if you guys do want to do this yourself, you want to head over to the quest board, select event quests, and pick the quest called the Survivor. This will have you hunt a Stygian Zynoga, nothing crazy, not tempered, anything like that. It's just a standard Stygian Zynoga over in Hoarfrost Reach. And when you defeat that, you'll of course get the unique material that is needed for everything in the second stage of the quest. This quest is available from December the 13th up until January the 9th. So again, you have a little under a month to basically get this completed. Now, to begin with, if you go to the smithy and you then take a look at the upgrade, we're moving from the Stormslinger prototype all the way up to the Adept Stormslinger. That, of course, pushes the attack up to 416, up from the previous 390. And, of course, the main thing for this is that it does come with that special unique mod. Of course, ammo-wise, you're still working with pretty much what you had before. But if we then turn our attention to the customized bowgun option, you will see there is a special power source mod. This is the special mod that allows this gun to fire that new unique ammo. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But, of course, do keep in mind that does take up a slot, so obviously you're going to have to kind of sacrifice something else for that in the process. Also, for those of you guys wondering, unfortunately you can't put that mod on any other bowgun, so my dreams of kind of putting that into just like, I don't know, the new Stygian Zynoga bowgun are sadly crushed. So if you do want to do that, it is purely going to be on the Horizon Zero Dawn bowgun. As for the armor, if you go over to Forge Equipment, you're going to have to scroll down to full sets. Keep in mind, we do have an individual piece set coming as the third quest, that's the Banuk armor, and that'll be dropping, I believe, next week. But for the time being, if you want to craft the Shield Weaver armor, then this is what you're looking for. Again, Aloy, this time in her Shield Weaver set, looks pretty cool. I'm liking the sort of pulsating elements to it, looking pretty sweet. But if we turn our attention to the set bonuses, you can see this is what makes it so special. The armor set bonus, by having the whole set, which you can't avoid, is Ancient Armory Power Cell. This increases defense and eliminates damage reactions. Taking several hits knocks it out, but reactivates it over time. So if you saw this from the trailer, and again if we see this in action, you can basically firm a few hits. So it's kind of like a sort of armor version of Rocksteady to a degree. It of course then times out, comes back in, but this also works incredibly nicely with the weapon. On top of that, by default you would have 5 points in Thunder Attack, ignoring my charm. This is just from my other set that I happen to have equipped beforehand. You have 5 points in Resentment, 2 points in Health Boost, and 2 points in Weakness Exploit. So not a crazy amount of skills, but there's definitely some stuff you can work with. And of course, on the slot front, you have a level 4 and a level 2 in the helmet, level 4, level 2, and level 1 in the chest, level 4, level 1 in the gloves, level 3 and level 1 in the waist, and level 2 and level 1 in the legs. So there's definitely quite a lot of stuff you can do in that. You can spec some things into it. You can probably turn this into something that is actually worth using. Of course, also, if you guys want to craft it, you can go to Forge Palico Equipment, select full armor sets, scroll down to the bottom, and you have the Frostclaw set, which does look pretty cool. Obviously, this is yellow because that's how I've covered my thing. Normally, it would be white, but either way, that's Frostclaw, and if you want to have the associated weapon, you can then scroll to Standard Equipment, and you can forge the Forge Fire weapon. Again, fire attack, blunt, looks pretty cool, and of course matches the theme. But let's now turn our attention to the actual weapon itself. To begin with, if you draw the weapon, it of course behaves just like any other bowgun. You know, by default, it's just regular fire. Everything else, you know, there's nothing really different to it when you compare it to any of your other offerings. However, if you have that mod in and then you press circle, you can load in this new ammo. And when you do that, that then overrides all of your previous bullets. Doesn't matter what you have selected because it's instead going to defer to the ammo that you have equipped, your special ammo. Now, when you hold down the right trigger, continues to fire, it fires progressively faster, and of course it fires more damage. And then if you fire it for too long, it of course deals a good chunk of damage to you. You can see in this situation, it has basically taken off half my health, which is quite a sizable chunk. Meanwhile, if you fire this with a regular armor set, you can see it does actually quite a lot more damage, and it can basically take off pretty much all of your health. If you do this, you are basically going to be on 1 HP. You're talking like Moxie levels, and anything that hits you, even a tiny bump from a bug, is basically going to put you in the camp. So you do need to be incredibly careful with that. Obviously, keep in mind, you can use this more sensibly, right? You don't have to just hold down the trigger until there is no coming back. You don't have to adopt the all or nothing mentality. You could just sort of start firing some of it, and then as you start to see it get a little bit bigger, you can just stop, and you can then go again. Now, naturally, you do, of course, get progressive damage increases, you know, the more you hold it down. So there is, of course, value in using the higher tier, or, you know, holding down the trigger for longer. But if you were to use it in a position where you didn't necessarily want to use the Horizon Zero Dawn armor, or maybe you just want to kind of, you know, mess around with it with some of your existing light bowgun sets, then you're probably going to want to sort of use that more sparingly, or potentially pair it with some kind of recovery set so you can then quickly get back in the fight. Because otherwise, basically, fire it down for too long, and yeah, you're going to be in a pretty sticky situation. So it should, of course, go without saying that typically, if you're going to be using it, you know, it is designed to be used with the Alo set. Again, you still probably are going to want to try and, you know, balance that out accordingly. You're not necessarily going to always want to sacrifice half your health, because even that is still pretty dangerous. But either way, that is how it works. So altogether, it is a pretty cool combination. Honestly, I like the idea that they have kind of worked in some additional mods for the light bowgun. It would have been nice if it didn't perhaps take up a slot, because that is quite a big commitment. But if they can start doing more of this, moving further down the line and kind of expand that to the wider bowgun range, that would be really cool. Because of course, up until this point, bowgun or light bowgun has always just had the mines. Meanwhile, heavy bowguns at least had Wyvern Snipe and Wyvern Fire. So it would be kind of cool to have more offerings on this, or maybe kind of as they have more weapons, potentially have other weapons that can benefit from this, because it's quite a cool system. I do like those ideas where, you know, you attack too much, it starts to damage you. That kind of links in with the Safi Jiva set, which we'll be speaking about a little bit later on today. But either way, it's pretty cool. So if you guys want to grab it, that's everything you need to know. That is the quest, that's when it's available, and that is what you need to do. If you guys have any more questions, by all means let me know in the comments down below, but otherwise be sure to keep it locked. We've got plenty more Monster Hunter World content coming your way this weekend. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.